Hey everybody, little programming note for you to bear in mind before you get into this next episode. We recorded this prior to the NFL's release of the statement that they will be banning kneeling during the national anthem. So keep that in mind as you listen to this. However, we wanted you guys to hear our thoughts, our take on the national anthem craze that happened last season, our thoughts, what we think about it. It's too much.
Okay. Oh, yeah. A little something new for you guys. Courtesy of the Mindful Warrior. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 32 of the Mindful Warrior. My name is Nathan Jackson. With me, as always, is Evan Britton. What's up, dude?
Hey, my brother.
How are you?
Man, I'm good.
May 10th, 2018. Also here with us, Gerard Bauer, who you just heard conducting that new intro. How are you, Jed?
I'm doing great. Hello, everybody in the world.
You can hear his voice today because we have no guest. We're going to talk about some current event issues going on in the football world from which we're birthed. We're very familiar with that. But I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout-out to Gandalf the Grey.
Gandalf!
What's up, Gandy?
Gosh, he's just looking at me like he's piercing my soul.
Yeah. He's got beautiful eyes. Beautiful brown eyes. So, today we are going to start off with a little segment we've ditched over the last couple of weeks, and I know you guys have missed it. Jed, are you ready to hit it? Book Club! Eb, you want to tell us what book you brought today?
Yes, I do, my friend. We've got a quick little read. I read this on an airplane, and it's a fantastic read for all of you creative entrepreneurs out there, you creative minds who are looking to start a business, who are looking to become a marketing consultant, whatever it might be. It's called You Are a Message, Meditations for the Creative Entrepreneur by Guillaume Wolfe, or Professor G.
Professor G.
And it's got a lot of great stuff in here. This is one of a series that he's done. This is the follow-up to his book, You Are a Circle. He's also got a couple other books that have come after this. But it's a quick read, and it's just basically filled with all of these little musings that I think are pretty fantastic for someone who is a creative mind, who's maybe a little bit timid or intimidated by getting into the business world. And this really offers some great sort of insight into cultivating your own voice as a creative entrepreneur. And some of the pieces go like this. The next creative class can imagine, create, execute, negotiate, promote, and sell. This is how the game is played today. If you're not good at one of these skills, learn it. Invest in yourself. Your education must be a lifelong process.
Nice.
Work hard. Work really hard, but be gentle with yourself at the end of each day. Review what you did. Look at your actions. Did you do your best today? Good. Now you can sleep tight. You did a good job.
That's relevant to how we used to live.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And finally, think meta. Look at the big picture. If you do, you'll find out that life is a mystery, and you'll be happy to be a part of it. You'll be happy to work within it. That is You Are a Message, Meditations for the Creative Entrepreneur by Guillaume Wolfe, or Professor G. Great read. Pick it up on Amazon. Check it out, everybody.
What brought you to this book?
You know what? This book showed up in the mail. It was actually after our combo session.
Oh.
this thing out of nowhere. It was sent to me by a woman I went to the University of Arizona with. She played volleyball with my wife. Her name is Brooke. And she
I feel
had
like
read it.
Brooke is a very common volleyball name.
Right?
Yeah.
It sounds
For some
like
reason.
a volleyball.
Like there was a Brooke
Chick.
volleyball girl at my school, at my college, who was like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, named
Like
Brooke. Yeah.
Brooke Wilson
Yeah.
would be a great volleyball name.
Yeah, absolutely. Her name is actually Brooke Burengrud.
Burengrud.
Yeah. She's
so
got
great.
her dad is like a 7-foot Viking
Oh wow.
brain surgeon, heart surgeon. But she sent it to me. It was her brother sort of recommended it to her. And this thing just showed up in the mail. It was very cosmic, dude. And, sort of in the midst of us getting this thing rolling and figuring out what we wanted to do with this and, other projects I'm working on and what I want to do with myself as a person in life after football. So it was very poignant and very just kind of magical all the way around.
I feel like those three little snippets you just read too are pretty applicable for guys like us who are moving on from a career in athletics, who do well with little kind of slogans.
Yeah.
Football is very slogan heavy.
Yeah.
It's you have a mantra that you repeat or something easy to understand and you forge ahead with it.
Yeah.
And shoot, I mean, honestly, we're not really used to reading long, thick books.
Yeah.
And one of the daunting parts of becoming a professional in the real world for former athletes is the amount of reading and the amount of kind of the unknown as far as in the business world and we don't really have business instincts.
Yeah.
And how do we develop those? How do we develop that sense of hard work? How do we trust in our own ideas and kind of step forward and say, hey, I got an idea.
Yeah.
Think about it,
Yeah, definitely. And that's really, I think, why this thing resonated with me so much is because it was so relatable, to putting the skills and tools that I had as a football player, into my life after and, breaking it down in a very simple way that I could just buzz through a book like this.
Love it.
I'm a slow reader, man.
Right.
And so it was nice to have something that was so digestible as this.
Do you guys have team mottos that you remember, like team mantras?
Win the day.
Was that from where?
That was posted on the in the weight room in Chicago. That one. There were so many. When you were talking,
When
Nate, I was like, how many team meetings did I leave where the last slide of the whole team
Right.
meeting was like some inspirational quote from somebody?
In college, our special teams coach used to say, don't sing it, bring it.
Okay.
What does that mean? Let's break that one down a little bit.
It means
Don't talk.
it's not about
walk
talk,
it.
it's about action.
Yeah.
You might we've got to talk in these meetings, we've got to get each other excited, but it's really about what you do on the field.
Yeah.
Don't sing it, bring it. That was one of my favorite coaches of all time, Fred Giudici.
I love that.
In Cleveland, when I played for a week for Eric Mangini, this guy had mantras written up all over the facility, and you had to memorize them as a player, and he would tell you to stand up and recite them in front of the team.
Wow.
And if you got him wrong, even a word, he'd chastise you.
That's helpful.
He would make you feel like a loser and tell you to sit down, and then he'd call you up the next day to get it right.
Right. I love that. That's a great coaching technique.
Oh my God.
Way to go, Eric.
Where
Where are you now, buddy?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you should come on the Mindful Warrior. Eric, if you're listening.
Well, hey, man, we used to be in that world. We used to be brutes. You never know. He might be evolving too.
Sure.
He's
Yeah,
probably not a
absolutely, man.
quote-unquote bad human being.
No.
And I don't think any of these people in the NFL are bad people necessarily.
No.
They get churned up in this system, and they have to act tough. They have to be ultra-masculine, whatever that means, and they have to do this military shit. It'd be some of the mantras were like the pain of sacrifice, or the pain of regret, or something like that. Like really stupid stuff, you know what I mean?
There's
I
some
forget
good
them
ones,
now.
though. There's some good ones.
Yeah. But telling guys to stand up and recite it doesn't
That's
foster
ridiculous.
the kind of
No.
environment that contributes to winning.
You're
football
adding
games.
more stress to an already extremely stressful environment.
Yeah.
That doesn't need that.
In addition to those mantras, having to recite those, we would also have to recite the arbitrary statistics in the game plan that they gave us for each week. And an example of this was when I was there, it was in preseason. Who cares about Tennessee Titans third down like tendencies and third and long in preseason? But he'd have guys stand up and have to be like, yeah, what do they do? What do they like to do on 3rd and 15 in inside the 40-yard line, Jed?
Probably go for it.
Right. He'd also have a young cornerback stand up and have to tell the names of every single offensive lineman.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense because you want to know your teammates.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I was being facetious, but
well, I mean, yeah.
Whatever. Another great slogan that just came to me. University of Arizona. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, I like those ones that literally turn the phrase back around.
Yeah.
Those are always good mantras because it's like then you only have to memorize half of it and then you just reverse it. The other way.
You go.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
My high school coach used to say that one.
I love that.
We were an undersized high school football team.
Yeah.
We only had one lineman over 200 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. His name was Daryl Evans.
Daryl.
And he sprained his ankle celebrating a sack.
Oh, shit.
So then we were down to no lineman over 200 pounds.
Oh, we're like 180.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's high school for you.
Yeah.
Well,
so anyway, that was
Book Club.
And now we're going to kick off our current NFL events thing. We're going to touch on this story first, and after that, we're going to get into the bulk of our pod, which is about youth football and concussion research and whether or not football is a game that should be played by youngsters. But before we do that, we're going to touch really quickly on a story that came out a couple weeks ago.
Breaking news.
In the New York Times. Many of you might know, or many of you might not, that during the season, the owners and players in the NFL convened for a meeting to try to figure out how to deal with the national anthem fiasco that was sweeping the nation and that Donald Trump had weighed in on. These owners...
Sweeping the nation like a dance craze.
Well, I mean, wasn't the whole kneeling thing a big deal?
It was
huge.
Ridiculously big deal.
Ridiculously big deal.
A little too big.
People burning jerseys, burning season tickets.
So
like, what
stupid.
In the fuck?
Yeah. And it's all because they're triggered by something happening online, essentially. This is not real. This doesn't affect their life.
Right.
And but, so the owners and players, like...
Do you want to talk about, for instance, what's your take on the kneeling? What was your feeling about it?
I don't know. I think it's like this thing that grew into this media event. And I am very skeptical of any kind of media event because it's going to be shown through the lens of these media sensibilities and what triggers people and what creates clicks and what brings attention. Now, I understand that it has a meaning behind it. It was to protest police brutality.
Right.
Now, equating that with the national anthem, sort of a stretch a little bit, but also very symbolic in that football players really, football players never have the forum to express anything at all. You know, it's all done through, hey, Eben, how was this? You know, you get a microphone put in your face, asked about the game. If you try to talk about something else, it doesn't really work. And there are no other moments for you to seize control.
Yeah.
Well, he found that this was a moment he could seize control.
Yeah.
And so in that regard, I think it was very powerful, very poignant, and very effective.
Yeah.
However, what happens when it turns into week 2, 3, 4, 5, the media can seize the message. And they get to start controlling how the story is told. And at that point, it's out of Colin Kaepernick's hands.
Did he ever announce, like, I'm going to be kneeling?
No.
They asked him, right?
Yeah.
He kneeled.
After he did
kneeled,
it.
and then
they asked him.
And then they saw him doing it. Someone took a picture of it. And then the next game, he kneeled again. And at that point, everyone was watching. And after that, actually, the first time it happened, he was sitting on the bench.
Right.
He just refused to stand up. But then there was this guy named Nate Boyer, who's a former Green Beret, who was trying to make the NFL as a long snapper, who was on the team or something at the time. And so they concocted this plan. Well, sitting down is disrespectful. How about we take a knee? Instead, because they thought it would be a more respectful form of protest, because people take a knee for a fallen soldier. At the end of every football practice, coach brings it up. You take a knee around him. Taking a knee is
sign of respect.
A sign of respect.
Well, that was part of the thing afterwards, was that Colin had sort of convened with a group of Green Berets, who said, if you are going to do something like that to call attention during the national anthem, it would be most respectful to take a knee.
Right.
And that's military. That's coming from the military, which, first of all, I mean, one of my biggest issues with the whole conversation around it was that so many people took offense to it for military reasons. Like he was disrespecting the military, which to me calls into question a lot of these people's morals around social injustice issues and racial issues in this country. So, you know, to me, I think that, you know, so many people, you know, miscategorized, or, you know, we're so quick to jump on him as you're disrespecting the military. And, you know, it really had nothing to do with that at the end of the day. And even he took time to make sure he was respecting the military, you could argue, in many ways. And, you know, I think that was just an interesting twist, how it got twisted in that way.
And it goes to show you how the truth does get twisted online, and how the original intent changes once it hits, you know, people's Twitter feeds, essentially. And once Donald Trump gets involved. Because the meat of this meeting that the owners and the players had was about Donald Trump and their fear of him putting his finger on the issue and moving the needle. He had already tweeted a bunch of stuff, and the backlash from those tweets was what caused the burning of the jerseys and the protests and all these people posting videos online and Facebook and saying they'll never watch another NFL game. The ratings were slumping anyway. And so, okay, of course, it's because of the kneeling issue, right? That's what they want to equate it to, at least. And so these guys got together, and the tapes of this meeting, this 3-hour meeting, leaked to the New York Times.
Another big interesting part of that is who the fuck leaked this thing.
Right, exactly. Everything gets leaked now. Nothing is private. The whole irony of it, of course, Roger Goodell was there, and he led off the meeting by saying, let's make sure that we keep this confidential.
I love it.
Of course, you can't trust anybody anymore, especially not in these forums. And so it didn't stay confidential. It got leaked. And they started off by discussing, the players had an idea that the owners could kind of extend an olive branch by funding certain nonprofit organizations that they thought were valuable, important, whatever. It quickly became obvious that the owners were really there to talk about the kneeling. They wanted the kneeling to stop. But the players wanted to discuss other things, social justice, and Colin Kaepernick. Why wasn't he on a team? He's a good enough quarterback. Why isn't he on a team? Of course, he's not on a team because the owners don't want him on their team.
Right.
But the players want
Is it because of too much negative attention?
Yes. My agent, and you know him, represents Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
And so one of the teams that was hit hardest by this scandal was the Steelers, because I don't know if you remember, Tomlin, in the midst of all this crap, decided not to bring them out for the national anthem.
Oh, yeah.
They stayed in the locker room.
Yeah.
And the one guy who came out was the offensive lineman, Villanueva or whatever his name is, who served in the military, and he stood in the tunnel, like hand over.
Very active, too. He's in all the commercials.
Right.
For, I forget.
Army?
Is it the Army, or it might be some kind of U.S. military financial aid company. I forget what it is. It's a veteran USAA or something.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so the media seized on this as like this split in the locker room, and him being the only principled, moral American to stand up and say, I'm going to honor the flag. And the backlash against the Steelers and Mike Tomlin in particular was pretty swift and pretty vicious. And so my agent or his assistant told me that at their office they received many calls from Steelers fans who found their number online and called and left messages saying that they were never going to go to another Steelers game. They're pulling their kids out of Ben Roethlisberger's camps.
Wow.
They are, and these are the people who buy season tickets and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if my agent got all these calls, imagine the NFL head office, the Steelers themselves.
Yeah.
These people were being inundated by really, really angry fans.
Wow.
Who make them afraid that, they're gonna influence the revenue stream.
Nobody's gonna watch, man. Nobody's gonna watch anymore.
Right. And so the owners want to put an end to it. But the players in this meeting were saying, well, what about Colin Kaepernick? And Chris Long, who's a defensive end,
Yep.
Howie Long's son,
Yep.
very smart, wise man.
Woke.
Yeah.
Woke, as they say. He said, if he was on a roster right now, all this negativity and divisiveness could be turned into a positive. And the owners quickly deflected that. They wanted to talk about the kneeling, the current kneeling that was happening in the league. And Trump and Eric Reed, Kaepernick's teammate in San Francisco, spoke up and wanted the owners to answer. Why is he not on a roster? We know he's good enough to play. Give us an answer. Of course they wouldn't. And they kept deflecting, and eventually they said that they need to present a unified front, and they need an African-American face to show that unity, which tells a lot about race and how that factors into the perception of unity and the perception of this issue, which turned into a black and white thing.
Yeah.
It really did.
Right.
It wasn't about, kneeling for the flag. It was about black people kneeling for the flag.
Right. You had guys like Michael Bennett saying we need a white dude to step up and join this fight.
Right. So,
did anyone?
There were some white dudes who definitely took a knee.
Yeah.
But they weren't like vocal afterward.
Yeah.
But
I would have been there with him.
I would have been there with him too. But I would have been really disconcerted to see how the media handled it. And how they just stuck cameras in guys' face, like waiting for them. What are you going to do? You going to kneel or not?
Because that's terrible.
Either way, you lose.
Yeah.
Either way, you're going to make somebody mad.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of pressure from people like, let's say you're from fucking Texas and you're a white dude. And you really do believe in what your buddies are doing, your black buddies are doing, but you got your whole town who's all white and all your family.
Military families.
So what do you do?
Yeah.
It puts you in a difficult position.
Yeah.
And that's that kind of choice that I don't think players should have to make. I don't think this should be a political. I don't think the national anthem should be a political choice that players have to make.
Yeah, but after this meeting, this meeting happened like sometime in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
and up until when did the kneeling happen for a while last year?
Yeah, there was like 2 or 3 or 4 weeks where it was really bad. And then, like, the owners after this meeting tried to make it right. And, like, the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, they had some moment of solidarity where they all held hands and walked to the middle of the field and, like, took a knee really quick but then stood up.
Right.
It was all this, like, watered-down versions of it.
Yeah.
There
are all these compromises happening.
Yeah.
I was just shocked after reading this article, like, how weak these billionaires are.
Yeah. The owners are such chicken shit.
Fuck you money, you got fuck me money, you got fuck everything money.
Yeah.
And you're worried about Donald Trump, like, criticizing you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
Were they really able to track anything, like, concrete that said, oh, we're really losing money, we're really losing viewers? Because we know the skid has been going on for a while, and it pops up when there's a series of great games. There's a nice little spike. And then after a bunch of primetime games that are lame, you notice a big drop-off.
Yeah.
Here's the quality of the entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a little snippet from this article. From the New York Times article. The Buffalo Bills owner Terry Pegula sounded anguished over the uncertainty of when Trump would take another shot at the league. All Donald needs to do is to start to do this again, Pegula said. We need some kind of immediate plan because of what's going on in society. All of us now, we need to put a Band-Aid on what's going on in the country. fucking Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Like we need a real solution, man.
Right.
I mean,
Band-Aid. And Donald Trump tried to buy the Bills.
Did he really?
About 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
He put in a lowball bid.
Yeah.
$900 million is what he bid. It ended up selling for $1.4 billion.
Wow.
And then even back in the 80s when he was involved in the USFL.
Yeah, he was one of the main guys of that.
His plan was to fold his ownership into the NFL.
Ah.
And they didn't want him then.
Yeah.
And they don't want him now.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so mad. He's not even in that elite club. He may be the president of the United States, but he's not part of that club. And so he wants to poke that. He wants to take him down a peg.
Interesting.
It's insane. No, it is just crazy that they would be afraid of him.
Yeah,
he's going to be gone
man.
in 4 years. 8 years at the worst.
Yeah.
And NFL is going to be there still.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he had during his candidacy, before he was elected, he had some insane remarks on football, talking about the concussion issues.
Right.
Talking about like, oh, these guys, they're whining about the concussions. My head hurts.
Right.
Like, what in the fuck?
Meanwhile,
what kind of mutant are you?
He didn't even play sports.
Oh, my God. He was born with a fucking golden spoon up his ass, dude.
And he received 5 deferments from Vietnam.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a tough guy. But he would have run in and stopped the shooter at Parkland.
He's the military guy.
Yeah.
He loves the military.
Yeah.
4 of his deferments were from when he was in school. His last one was for heel spurs.
Oh, my God.
Which wouldn't even land you on the NFL injury report.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't play, coach. I got my feet hurt. My feet hurt.
I got spurs in my heels.
There's a guy shooting up the place up there. I'd run up there, but my feet hurt.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So anyway, that's what's going on behind closed doors with these owners and these players. And what eventually happened after that is they released a joint statement where they talked about unity and our issues and working together. And
would you like me to read this wonderful piece of vanilla?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Vanilla cake, vanilla frosting with some whipped cream.
I love it.
Today, owners and players had a productive meeting focused on how we can work together to promote positive social change and address inequality in our communities. NFL executives and owners joined the NFLPA executives and player leaders to review and discuss plans to utilize our platform to promote equality and effectuate positive change. We agree that these are common issues and pledge to meet again to continue this work together. Notice how they don't say anything.
No.
They don't say anything.
They don't say what the issues are.
Right.
They could have made that statement any year.
Yeah.
Like at any time.
All that says is we got together and talked about some stuff.
Yeah.
And it was super, guys.
Yeah.
We want to have a positive message here at the NFL.
I wonder if Roger Goodell talks like that at home, like around dinner.
Yeah.
Honey, do you like the pot roast?
I feel like it was a positive effort you made in the kitchen.
There are needs for sustenance all around when sometimes during the day people get hungry and congregate around the table for a mutually shared experience of picking up forks and knives and consuming food that was made in a certain fashion by someone that we know.
It's beautiful.
That was really good, man.
Hey, man, I should work at the league office.
Yeah, you should. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Eben, did you ever meet the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Shad?
Shad?
Yeah, I met him.
Yeah, because he's the only one who actually said anything like, guys,
Right.
come on,
Yeah.
about Trump.
All the damage Trump's going to do is done. I love that. I mean, seems like he's doing a great job, Shad Khan.
He just bought Wembley Stadium.
Did he really?
Yeah.
They're going to London, baby.
Yeah.
The Jags are going.
Which will be really weird.
Yeah, it'd be so strange.
I mean, imagine playing for that franchise.
A mistake.
Yeah, big time.
That would suck.
Yeah.
I mean, just to go play the East Coast teams, that's a 6-hour flight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Imagine
know,
playing
man.
the Raiders or the Niners.
Yeah, going across the fucking world.
Or if you're a Raiders player, you got to go play them.
Yeah.
Do you think the NFL can go international like the NBA did?
I think they're trying to.
Do you think it's going to work?
The NBA, they're just going to Canada. I mean, that's a little bit more doable, I think.
But I mean, they've spread the game very well.
Yeah.
And
but it's a game that people play in Europe.
Right.
People don't play football.
Yeah, football is so American.
People play football, but it's a fucking different kind of football. And I think the name football itself is the big problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Football?
What football?
Football?
This is football.
Soccer.
Not football.
Yeah.
What, you play football with your hands?
Yeah.
No.
Helmets.
It's right there in the name.
Right.
Might as well be playing rugby, mate.
You got to change the name if you want to make headway there. You got to call it something else there.
Call it soccer there.
That's a good idea. Plus all the rules, all the flags, all the conferences, all the starting and stopping.
I mean, are those games doing that well there? Are those games in London like selling out?
They are selling out.
Are they really?
They are, but
it's a novelty, probably.
It's a novelty, and you got I'm sure you got 100,000 NFL football fans in London.
Sure,
but do you have 50 million of them? You know, do you have 20 million who are going to tune in and watch it there and make it a money-making endeavor there? That's up for grabs. I don't know about that.
Interesting.
What time do they come on at like 9 our time? Or,
yeah, they're pretty
9
early.
Eastern.
Yeah.
So are they just trying to capitalize and get a full Sunday worth of football?
Day.
Yeah, and they're just trying to spread the game. Spread the game, grow the pie.
Yeah, grow it. Well, what about? I mean, you were in NFL Europe.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was a great experience. However, the fans over there didn't understand the game.
Yeah.
So they would often cheer at random times.
Oh, interesting.
Everyone in the crowd had a whistle.
So
you can't play the whistle.
Yeah.
Or else you're just going to be...
Coach, I heard a whistle.
Yeah, no. Like for example, if I'm on offense, right? The home team's on offense, and we throw an interception, and the guy's running it back, and then I make the tackle.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Because I made a tackle.
Right.
Even though we just gave up the ball.
Yeah.
So there are little things like that.
No concept of that.
The rules are very intricate. In our game.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And if you didn't grow up playing it or watching it, it's
tough to understand. I mean, I talk to American people all the time who are like, man, I really just have no idea what's happening there
on
a football field.
And it's getting more and more influenced by outside forces, the replays and all this shit. Like, people off the field are controlling the game, not the people on the field. European fans, I believe, just want to see the field, the action on the field, the flow of the game, the players dictating it.
Right.
But American football is all about get back in the huddle and let us tell you what to do.
Right.
And then let's review what just happened and tell you if it's legitimate or not.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, without the Jumbotron in the stadium, you're going to be lost.
Yeah.
During a lot of the game because there are so many stoppages.
Yeah.
And that's why the viewing experience at home on TV is often superior to going to a game.
Yeah.
Because they can show you all the stats, all the replays, and tell you exactly everything that's going on. But when you go to a game, I don't know.
What did he say? What's going on?
What happened?
Which is why when you watch those games at Wembley, you can almost hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those guys are running on, and everybody's switching places now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Someone's cheering. Someone's excited.
Yeah.
Someone's excited. That's what I mean.
So is the solution to get more kids to play football?
Ooh, segue!
Woo!
For our last segment of the day, we're going to discuss youth football and concussion research. And to start this off, there's a new study that was just released that says that if you played football starting under the age of 12, then you're more likely to develop brain problems, cognitive, mood, and behavioral. And this study specifically of 211 diagnosed CTE cases, those who started playing before the age of 12 had an earlier onset of their symptoms by an average of 13 years. And basically, for every year under the age of 12 that you started playing, symptoms showed up 2.5 years earlier. Now, it's important to note that youth football was not associated with worse CTE pathology, just earlier onset. And they studied 246 brains. 211 of them had CTE. 34 of them did not. And I think on the heels of this kind of study, California actually was working on a bill, AB 2108, that seek to ban tackle football for kids under 12. Now, this was making its way through the legislature, but the youth football lobby, whatever the hell that is, amassed 45,000 signatures, and now lawmakers are, quote-unquote, taking a time out to revisit the bill.
The youth football lobby.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are those people?
I don't know.
A bunch of bored parents who are very uncreative and have nothing else to do on a Saturday or can't think of anything else to do.
Man, dude, I mean, just to put my 2 cents out there that I've really, I can't be moved from. I mean, a kid should not be playing this game, tackle football, until they're at least 14 years old in high school. I mean, and that might even be too young.
Yeah, size disparity is a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came out of my career, and one of the first things I did was I jumped into coaching at my high school. And, man, like 98% of the kids on the field should not even be there. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not physically built for it, and that's nothing... that's not saying anything good or bad about the kids. That's just a fact. That's a physical fact.
Yeah.
And every kid wants to, be the guy on film doing the kill shot.
Right.
Every kid wants to be the guy knocking somebody out, or, making the unbelievable tackle with their head, head to head. And it's just...
You got jacked up!
Yeah, and it's, it's just like part of the culture at that age. You're not really thinking about playing smart or your head or anything like that. You probably have, of course there are some great coaches out there, but most of them are not going to really have the tools to instill proper technique in a child at that age. So kids can do something else. Kids can play another game. We can maybe do flag football. But, I mean, at that age, I don't see what the argument is at this point for let's keep, these like 6-year-olds playing tackle football.
You want to hear something funny? We've had flag football in junior high. We played in full pads. The only person who didn't get smashed was the guy with the ball. So all our lines are going straight at each other.
Yeah.
And that was, looking back, you're like, wow, that was one of these, like, decisions by committee which made no sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody thought, oh, well, if you don't tackle the guy, he's going to be fine. Everything's safe. There's no big hits. But now with the science, we see it's the little hits.
Yeah.
And we played 2 weeks of full tackle before the season started. And, it was... full pads, full everything. I got yelled at a lot for smashing people with my helmet, spearing people.
That makes a lot of sense now. How you say that.
Yeah, it was fun. But to your point of what do these kids do, like I really enjoyed blocking. I played the weak side tight end, so I blocked all the time. And after my first game, I was like, that was awesome. I just smashed into some other dude, and it was kind of like being in it's like beating up, fighting with big old like boxing gloves, the big giant ones, and you don't really get hurt, and you guys just wail on each other, and it's fun, and that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But obviously, if I did years and years of that would not end up so great because
And the thing is, when we talk about safe tackling, and it's all about the tackling and stuff.
Right.
When you watch a tackle, it's rarely helmet to helmet, but when you block, it is helmet to helmet.
Yeah.
Because you're taught technically to
3
fit
points
up.
of contact.
3 points of contact. You got to square them up.
Yeah.
There's a way you're supposed to hit when you're trying to move someone in a certain way and clear out certain space. And he's also trying to square you up and take you so he can go both ways.
Yeah.
And so that is where the helmet to helmet stuff happens.
Yeah.
Blocking, not tackling.
Right.
And so it's very disingenuous for the NFL to trumpet this safe tackling thing. And as it pertains to kids, like you said, everyone's just smashing each other out.
It's fun. You're all padded up. Like, you're not getting cuts and bruises. You're not noticing your head being, like,
coming out of the day, you're fucking woozy, you know?
But it feels good when you're a kid because
Sure.
you're like, you got the adrenaline is going.
The endorphins, all that shit.
Like, you know, wrestling is great at that age, you know, for kids who are really physical. And I think every kid should be at least a little bit physical.
No doubt about it.
But that like straight up one-on-one clear winner after every kind of down, it's like, that's very instructive to a kid. I think that part is positive.
Right. Absolutely.
But it's kind of naive of us to think that there is no other way to have that experience.
Yeah.
And there's no other thing we can do to have that kind of black and white, win or lose physical moment. Like when we talk about changing football for the youth, let's say flag, for example, people are like, well, it wouldn't be football. You know, I can't imagine football without tackling and hitting exactly like it is. And to think that really this is all about a lack of imagination from adults, that they can't imagine it being anything else.
Yeah.
Well, fucking think of something else. Try.
I mean, what about rugby?
Well, rugby's interesting because they coach a completely different tackling technique with head behind the tackling. You know, when you're going to approach a runner, you get your head on the back and you wrap them up and you gator roll. In football, everything is head in front.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep your head in front of the man to stop his momentum. But rugby, it's the opposite, and they have way fewer instances of concussions and, you know, obviously these CTE and these issues like that.
Right. And because in football, every little inch matters,
right.
You know. And if you tackle a guy in football like you do in rugby, he gets an extra 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah.
And it's like, those are the 3 or 4 yards that'll be the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Between living and dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every little inch.
Yeah, because it's true, though. The guy who has a 3.4 run average is going to be better than a guy who has a 3.2.
Yeah.
And they're not bringing out the chains to do measurements in rugby.
Yeah.
Right.
In addition to that, you can't hit people whenever you want in rugby. You can't just hit some guy because he's out there.
Right.
You know, they're off limits, and you can only hit the tackler. They do those little scrums at the beginning where they're pushing on each other, but they're not just smashing each other.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. And it's a very different sport.
Yeah, you can just rock some guy coming across the field.
Yeah. If he's not looking, just tee off on him. Every man is fair game and live at all times on a football field, except the quarterback, of course, and the kicker.
Right.
But everyone tells you the quarterback's the hardest job in sports. Bull fucking shit. You got a pretty face and a decent arm, you can be a quarterback.
Oh, I love it.
They don't run. They don't hit. They don't tackle. They don't have to cover a kickoff. They don't have to block. They don't have to lift weights.
Yeah.
They don't have CTE. They can play till they're 40.
Well, some probably do.
The percentage is very low compared to every other position.
Yeah,
Quarterbacks
sure.
do
They're
not.
taken out. Like if it looks like they got a concussion, they're out.
Yeah.
They're much more because they're the most visible player, so they got to do their dog and pony show.
Right.
And the quarterback gets hit.
Yeah, I mean, some quarterbacks do have CTE, and some who are forced out because of concussions, but those are one-off big hits that put them out of games. It's not subconcussive. It's not every down, every play stuff. And I believe that the reason why so many linemen have CTE is because the quarterback is so valuable. You pay the quarterback $40 million a year, you're going to have to protect him with everything you got. And if he gets hit, somebody's getting fired. And so everybody, all these 350-pound linemen are there, so this guy doesn't get hurt. Well, what about the 350-pound linemen?
Fuck them.
What about those guys? The model's askew.
Yeah.
The quarterback is too valuable. Do not tell me that there's a quarterback who's the best football player in history. No, he's the best quarterback, but his skill set is very limited. You put Tom Brady out there against any other football player doing anything else physical or athletic, and he looks like a 4-year-old girl. Now, incredibly smart, incredibly quick with the ball, very aware of what's going on around him, knows how not to take a hit.
Great quarterback.
Amazing. The best ever.
Sure.
He knows how to not take a hit. How is that football? No one else on the field is not taking a hit.
Yeah.
We have to learn how to take a hit so he does not have to take a hit.
I love it, man.
Exactly. Yeah, because
you're dead on.
Yeah, their skill set is get rid of the ball before somebody touches you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, ironically enough, the storytellers who go in the booth and talk about this game are all those guys too, who never had to really experience what the fuck is really going on out there protecting his dumb ass. Yeah. And they're the ones who are going to tell us what is right and what is wrong on the field. These quarterbacks are coddled. It's time for them to grow a pair of balls.
Wow. That's beautiful.
I don't know. Someone had to say it. All right?
Yeah.
Enough of the quarterback stuff, man.
Yeah.
These guys...
Everything is about protecting them. You can't hit them low. You can't hit them high. There's like a fucking 1 foot window that you can actually tackle a quarterback now.
Yeah.
Maybe they should give everybody the 1 foot window to tackle people. Do you think that would help?
No. Yeah. They'd love that.
And I'm just going to say it. I mean, why is every quarterback handsome?
I don't know.
Are they?
Pretty much. I mean, they're like Johnny All-American,
who's
handsome
the ugliest
face.
quarterback playing right now?
Yeah, think about an ugly quarterback.
Let's see.
You got to be good looking to be a quarterback. It's like the modeling industry.
Let's go by division.
Ugliest quarterbacks.
I mean, Ben Roethlisberger isn't much to look at, but he's not.
He's still tall. He's he's got he's dark.
But he kind of breaks the mold because he's also a big guy who kind of takes a lot of hits, and you could think that he would be, a little more durable, a little bigger, a little stronger. He can't run, though. He probably runs like a 6 flat 40.
Well, all these guys are like groomed since they're fucking 10 years old to be quarterbacks. Now you've got these like Elite 11 QB camps where they're bringing guys in and training them from fucking as young as possible to learn how to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
How to stand, how to fucking like take steps, how to throw a ball. It's just like, Jesus.
Yeah. And also how to talk like a quarterback.
Yeah.
How to answer the questions like a quarterback.
Right. How to present.
So much of that is being able to do that, because if you're the figurehead of the organization, you're the guy who's going to be the signal caller and the one who's talking the most. You want him to be pretty.
Let's see. Jed's pulling up ugliest quarterbacks. I don't know, man.
And none of them are really that ugly.
None of them. Like, they're all, still handsome dudes.
I'm thinking of maybe these aren't quarterbacks, though.
I mean, they've got
like Andrew Luck is kind of beastly, but it's like he's handsome in his
he's
own
still
way.
handsome.
Peyton Manning, probably the ugliest quarterback.
Still,
still not a
decent.
bad-looking guy. Large forehead, but decent-looking guy.
Why do they have Nick Foles on there? He's totally handsome. He's like Sunshine from, what was that movie? Remember the Titans.
Kyle Orton, maybe? I mean, he's starting, he's maybe a 6 for a quarterback.
Yeah, but if he was walking down the street, you wouldn't be like, that dude's ugly.
Look at my dudes, the McQuiston brothers, man.
McQuiston.
That's that dude right there, right next to Tom Brady.
This guy?
Yeah, there's Paul and his brother. What's his brother's name? I forget. I played with Paul in Jacksonville. Awesome guy. That's a shame. That's bullshit, Google.
Well, yeah, he's not a quarterback, right?
Yeah, no. He's not
I don't
at
think
all.
we're seeing anything below a 6. I don't think we're seeing.
They've got Jay on there, but Jay's not. Jay's a handsome dude.
Yeah, that's Jay right there.
Yeah.
Look at him.
He's on the cover of a magazine.
Michigan Avenue, Mag.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Decent arm, pretty face, you can be a quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a football player out in the field, running, hitting, tackling, blocking, you need to be a different guy altogether.
Yeah.
And so if you want to talk about the game of football and you want to say a quarterback is the best of all time, go fuck yourself.
Ooh, woo!
You know what I'm saying?
Tell it like it is, baby. Tell it like it is.
Well, I think with that, we're going to cut this pod off at the dick.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Mindful Warrior podcast. Check us out on iTunes, subscribe on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you find your podcasts. We really appreciate it. Leave us a review, a like. Tell us what you think about it. Send us an email at mindfulwarriorpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our website, mindfulwarriorpodcast.com. On social, we got our Instagram at Mindful Warrior Podcast, as well as Facebook, and our Twitter at Mindful Pod. Check out Nate's books. You could find them on our website. It'll check you in right to Amazon. You purchase both of his books, Slow Getting Up and Fantasy Man, 2 great reads I highly recommend. as well as our organization, our title sponsor, Athletes for Care. Head over to athletesforcare.org if you want to get involved or check out what we've got going, what the latest stuff is. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you again for listening. Share it with a friend. Keep meditating. Keep eating right. We love you guys. Till next time. Peace.